It was, I suppose, my passion for the sea, alongside with the ability to tear and repair your body. My previous background of playing rugby, I was lucky enough to live out a boyhood dream and also loved the benefits that came from the sea.
What's your superpower?
Naivety. To try anything, I would say.
Steve, welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much, Gary. I am, for some reason, extremely nervous, but here we are. Because I know you.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I can talk in front of a room of 1,000 people that I don't know.
Yeah.
If you give me like an audience of 10 that I do know, different story.
Yeah, lash on a few cameras, it changes the whole scene.
There you go. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it.
So we met back 2019.
Correct.
In the 40 foot on a wet and windy Saturday morning, about 7 a.m, I'd say.
That sounds about right, yeah. As bizarre as that may have sounded back then, it's now borderline mainstream to do that on a November weekend.
We were sauna hipsters. We were doing it before it was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you start that? So for context, you started this in early 2019?
2019, yeah. So 6 years literally last week, which is pretty cool milestone.
Congrats, that's huge.
But yeah, it was, I suppose, with my passion for the sea, alongside with the ability to tear and repair your body. Recovery from my previous background of playing rugby. I was lucky enough to live out a boyhood dream and also loved the benefits that came from the sea. Being brought up by it when I was younger. My family's from a place in Cork in Kinsale that was just right by the seaside there, so never had the fear of the cold. Never had to overcome that, and never understood why people had a passionate no or yes answer whenever it was, do you want to do this activity? And then you kind of just get obsessed with it, and you just want to see why somebody is that passionate about their response to something as simple as you want to come for a swim in the winter. And you can imagine some of the responses that come from that.
Yeah. For context then, you started with a barrel sauna at the 40 foot.
Yep. 2019.
So bring me right back to like literally the first couple of days. So I think that's fascinating for most people, is those early days. Everyone resonates with that.
Yeah. Well, it was, I suppose, the concept kind of came from when I was transitioning out of rugby and retiring from that, which was a tough decision for me to make at the time. So I was quite young at the time. I was only 26, and was offered to go elsewhere. But, you know, I'd kind of been a journeyman, not by choice, at that stage of my career anyway. I'd gone from Leinster down to New Zealand, to then come back to Munster, to then Connacht, within a very short space of time. And I suppose it kind of took its toll on me a bit in terms of I never foresaw that in my career. I just was very linear with my progress when I managed to get into the system in Leinster. Irish 20s as well, like privileged to be able to represent there as well, and would have been, you know, I could just see where it could go, but that sport swinging doors didn't work out, and I was all in, all eggs in that basket kind of mantra. Like,
was it in you could only see success in terms of I'm going to do Leinster and Ireland all the way to the top?
Quite literally, like, as in, I wasn't the wonder kid, like, in sport. Like, I wasn't the freak athlete that was running around the place and, you know, just clearly physically capable to do a lot more. I was never that guy. I was dogged. I loved a bit of grind, a bit of graft, but I was just quite literally obsessed. Nothing else came on my radar, to the point where even like my parents had to be called into like a careers guidance meeting with my careers guidance counsellor in school and stuff. And, you know, it was like a tick box exercise for me. I was like, look, I don't really want to do anything else except try play rugby. And she was kind of, you know, adamant that we had my parents to be brought into that meeting, and that wasn't the norm. But then it got to a point where my parents, again, just backing me to the hills, being like, well, that's what he wants to do. It's like, isn't the whole point of like the meeting to try and help a kid to understand what they want to do? So they kind of doubled down on it. And
they backed you.
They backed the living shit out of me, which was class. And then I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to make it happen. Like, you know.
What age were you?
The obsession started at like 5, but 13 is when I really kind of know that I was going to give it everything. Because
13, that's young.
Yeah, it was a very poignant moment where it's like, now look, people might take this like, I don't know how, but there was like a weight categorized tournament in London, in Oratory. It's a school out there, and it's like a sevens rugby tournament, and it was like a very prominent kind of time for my school that we were in, that you go on this tour. And I was selected to be captain when I was 13, but it was a 10 stone old money kind of weight kind of category, right? So you had to be that weight to be able to play, because they didn't want it to be dangerous, which I totally back.
Fair enough, yeah.
And I had no concept of weight at the time. I always knew I was a big kid, but I was like 12 and a half stone at 13 years of age and trying to be a back, which is just like, I had many fights with many coaches trying to put me in the front row and stuff. But I was like, absolutely not. Like I have skill, like I'm capable to actually do things. So long story short, stood on the scales, lads are laughing at you, being like, Jesus, how is you? Like, there's no way you're going on this thing. And like, I just have no idea what's going on. But then my coach comes up to me and he's like, look, Steve, you're not going to be able to go on this tour. And like, this was in October and the tour was in February. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're too heavy and I can't condone you to go on this, like on anything. Like you're just too heavy kind of thing. I was like, you don't have to condone it, but don't worry, sir, I'll be there. And just go home that day. Mum's asking how school is. I'm like, yeah, school's grand. Mum's like, but I'm going to need to get a dietitian. I need to get a gym program. I need to get this because I need to be 10 stone by February. And she was like, who the fuck are you and what have you done with my child kind of thing?
So just like a switch went off in your mind, or were you always quite like, this is the solution?
No, I was always,
this is the like problem. Well, here's the solution.
I was always frustrated because my brother was the athlete. He was the freak kid that everybody was like, Jody Lomu, they called him. He was just this absolute like phenomenon of a athleticism to the full. Like, so I'm looking at him in his shadow my whole life, being like, God, like, and I'm like, I have a better pass than him though. I can tackle him, like, because he was running at me the whole time in the backyard, and just as we were talking about, like, just repping, not even realizing that it was reps at the time, but it was just like, I know that if I can tackle Jody, I can tackle anybody, or I know if I can pass a ball fast enough to get to where it needs to get to put it into space, that if Jody can't do it, then great. So I always had a really good benchmark. And I was always left in the shadows of him because Jody was able to do everything. And I was really frustrated as a kid because I was like, I'm just as good. Like, I know I am, but like didn't get to a level of like being able to show that. So then, yeah, just pure obsession with trying to get, and I always played with Jody. So like I played an age grade above me. He's a year and a half older than me. So I got to play with like all his year going into that school. So it was the first time really I was playing my own age grade, like when I was 13. Because our dad coached us in De La Salle, and it was amazing times. We had great teams, great successes, real underdogs. But yeah, just first time really getting tested to be like, do you really want this? And I knew that I was heavy, and I knew that it was impeding me if I really wanted to actually do anything. And like most 13-year-olds that are obsessed with sport, they always look at like Brian O'Driscoll or something. It's like I'm nowhere near what Brian O'Driscoll is doing. Like I need to be at this, so I need to go change it. And then yeah, just went on this journey of, my dad suggested going skipping, and there's a longer story about that, to try and lose weight. So I was wearing like 5 pairs of trousers every day after school, and
Really?
5 jumpers, 5 t-shirts to sweat as much as possible. When I got a dietitian, turns out I was always sick as a kid as well, very unhealthy. Like diet was out the window, just sausages, crisps, that's all I'd eat, very beige diet. To then like, oh, you're lactose intolerant. Oh, you've asthma. Oh, and learning all these things at a very young age, and then rewiring it because my why was so focused, and it was short term enough for a young person to stay on track with. Lads are taking the piss out of you as well, where you're coming in with lettuce and brown everything. All of a sudden there's no white rolls anywhere, there's no crisps being had, there's no chocolates. And yeah, that was the real moment when I got there. Now we did shite in the tournament, but the point is that I got there bang on 10 stone. Lads taking the piss out of me, saying like that I had to strip down to like my knickers just to actually get to the 10 stone weight. And I was going for runs before the tournament and everything like that to get there. But when I look back at it now, I'm like, God, if I saw a 13-year-old even attempt to do what I was trying to do, I'd be like, you are just focused.
And did that persist then? Did that kind of mindset, was that a permanent mindset switch?
Yeah. Probably not as intense because it just didn't need that level of intensity. But then when you're young, you see the benefits of it. You're getting faster, you're getting stronger. You're again, like your pass is really good, but now you've got strength behind you and accuracy, and now it's like you don't even know how to control it because you've got to rewire it because you've got too much going on now. So just trying to like rep that out and figure what the new you is the whole time and progress. And I look back at it now, I probably wasn't as tailored until I got selected to actually be in like Leinster under 17s, was when it got like hyperdrive focus. Again, because I missed out on the JCT kind of selection because I was young for my year. So like 5 or 6 of my peers got picked and I didn't. And that was a kick.
What's that, going to an academy or something, is it?
Just an underage, under 17s. So like after you do your JCT, there's like
What's
trials.
JCT?
Junior Cup Rugby, sorry.
Okay.
Junior Cup team kind of campaign. So like in 3rd years of school for schools rugby. And normally after that, there's like a summer camp where you got Leinster representative to kind of drip feed you into the system and what it would be like to see what is actually required to become a professional. So I didn't get selected for that. Again, make or break moment. Do you wallow in it or do you like double down and decide not to go on holidays and all that stuff at that age because you're just like, I'm training.
Really?
Yeah, just like, no, I'm doing this. I want to get better. I'm not having this heartache again. I'm making sure, because I had that year, it was a 93 when I was playing like a lot of 1992 age. So I knew I had a year, thankfully. So second crack at the whip to have a go at it. But I was like, there's no way I'm letting that heartache kind of hit me again.
Quite a driven young kid, aren't you?
Yeah, it was overdrive. Like, and I didn't even realize it until like, a bit of wisdom and a bit of age and journeys come the way. And you start looking back and you're like, wow, yeah. It wasn't just a coincidence. It was reps, time, focus.
Also shows what it takes to get there. So then you went into the Leinster system. How did that progress?
Incredible. Love my time there. The team, the people that like shaped my future as a human career. I can't even start to mention names just because it would be unfair to give anybody more time than anybody else. But like, it's just... it's lessons that you can bring to anything. Like if you can overcome the ruthlessness and the high performing environment that is expected of anybody that goes in that door, especially now, like, it's gone even levels above since my time. But if you can get through that and find a way through that, then you can find a way through a lot.
What was it after school? How does this work? So explain to people who have no kind of concept of like joining like a professional rugby team. Do you go to college at the same time? Or are you a professional rugby player when you leave school at 18?
Yeah, but again, just for transparency, like I couldn't have had a worse leaving cert. I think I ended up coming away with like 200 points or something like that because I wasn't a bad student. I always got along very well with all of my teachers, but literally the second I came home from any day, bag was under the stairs and the ball was outside. And me and Jody would be just play. That was it. That's literally all we did. Didn't focus on anything else. Lads would try to deteriorate to come play football on the green and be like, absolutely not, we're playing rugby. And then all of a sudden we have lads who'd never touched a rugby ball playing with us and like knocking the shit out of each other on the green and having a great time. But just so like everything was tailored to that decision. And it wasn't forced on us either in terms of like my parents. They didn't like, drive it.
They backed you but didn't force you.
They just backed it, And again, that's a make or break move from them too. Like as in, me and Jody have very similar relationships with it. It worked out for me, it didn't for him. I got to live out my boyhood dream and just again, the swinging doors of everything with sport. Because everybody would have known who Jody Crosbie was, wouldn't have a clue who Steve was. So it was, it was everything to me.
So what happened? You left school, went into Leinster Academy.
So flunked my leaving cert, thought I was over, the world was done. I remember lads going out for like leaving cert night and I was like moaning in the back garden, like, no, I'm not going out, lads, no way. And then they just forced me out because of such an amazing group of mates. They're just like, get over yourself, come on, it's not the end of the world, come on, let's figure it out, even though at the time it does feel like it. I had thankfully filled out the CEO and I managed to get a spot in tourism and marketing in DIT because I always had an interest in hospitality. Like when I was like 7 or 8, my mum always reminds me, like I idolized a fella down in Cork who used to run Acton's Hotel. And I was like, I want to be that guy. Like he's so nice, so lovely and just like always on it and just like so like passionate, remembers everybody's name. And I was like fascinated by this guy. And then I thought that's a potential avenue if rugby wasn't working out, but I hated thinking about rugby not working out. So I just never really leaned into it, just never leaned into plan B. To ticking boxes and attending lectures, but then if there was a conflict, because I was in the sub academy at the time, so if there's a conflict of calendars, rugby always got the nod over it.
So you were in the Leinster program at this stage. You were training like a professional athlete.
Yes, it came out of school sub academy spot. So there's maybe 15 places.
What's sub academy?
So it's kind of like the before you get into an academy look in Leinster, which is a setup which is inside the actual organisation. So Sub Academy is based down in Donnybrook Stadium in Dublin. Dave Fagan would have been the peer, the mentor that I owe so much to, and God bless his soul, to kind of shape the man that I am today with just school of hard knocks kind of mentality. And so Sub Academy is where you kind of earn your stripes to get into an academy spot. So you're always just like aiming for that North Star of academy to then progress on to Leinster senior contract is kind of the pathway. So usually you'd be like Leinster 18s, 19s, 20s, and then you're usually in that kind of Sub Academy bracket in the 20s to then, but I did 2 years in Sub Academy because I needed a lot of physical development. Again, at the time, terribly frustrated, didn't know. But come like 20s kind of time where you should be in an academy. Again, I'm a year behind in my eyes. So like dog it again, bullish, just making sure that this happens. And yeah, managed to secure an academy spot then when I was 20, just after my under 20s campaign, my Irish under 20s campaign.
Okay, so you were performing for Ireland, then into the academy, then into the Leinster senior setup, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I'd never secured a Leinster senior contract. I was in the academy for 3 years. So
so you stay in the academy?
Yeah, so you go from sub academy to academy. It's a 3-year contract. Now, I think it's changed now. I think it's not a guarantee 3 years, but basically you can always be upgraded into a senior contract in that academy spot, but you're kind of seen to fill out your 3 years of academy again. Earn your stripes when your moment comes. But again, it's all varied.
And do you play with the senior team when you're in the academy, or is that option open? Can you switch between two?
So there's 2 different schedules. You are very much on an academy one, but then depending on availability for the seniors in positions that are needed more bodies for, then you can get selected and brought out and put into senior training. So you usually would have your stuff, your gym and everything kind of done before all of the senior team, just so then they would be able to avail of the bodies in the academy for training, just in case there's like niggles or anything after they do their monitoring and they see who's available, see who's doing the pitch session, who's not, and then they can fill those roles. And it's an amazing experience because you're kind of being drip fed in then, idolizing it. You're like playing with these guys that you're just watching on the TV, like on the weekend. You're like, God, I know this move. I know what they're going to do. And you see it executed. Like,
as a boy, since your boyhood dream, that must have been immense. Is that a job? Are you getting paid like a normal person? Is it an apprenticeship kind of thing? How does it work?
Academy is always like a touchy subject because it's not paid terribly well. You are still contracted, but again, like where you've a bit of downtime and you're with the guys and you're kind of just like, I can't believe we're doing this for so long. Because when I was in there, it was €4,000 for the year. Wow. Of a contract. So you break that down to hours and you could be in there from 6:30 in the morning until 4:30 if you're plugged into doing the gym and the pitch session for the seniors. So yeah, it's a hardship, but like you wouldn't change it for the world because it's what you wanted to do. And
I know you probably would change it though for 40 grand a year.
You're like, gosh, that's wild. But like, yeah, just the opportunity was everything, and you'd do anything. Like, little did they know, like even $4,000 was like great, grand that pays for X. Yeah. Now, like obviously at the time we're like this is ridiculous. We should be getting more. Like we're getting
hard though, because you're 20 at this stage, are you?
Yeah.
So you're starting to like have want to go out and do things and start building your life. Like it's difficult. You're in that kind of limbo zone of like, I'm training and living like a professional athlete, but without the perks.
Literally, yeah. It's like this romanticized vision of it, and your friends are like, oh my God, you're so lucky, you know what you're doing and you know where you're going. Like I'm in this arts degree, or not sorry to take that out, like not to shit on arts or anything like that, but like they just have fallen into a degree for the sake of falling into it and not knowing what they want to do.
Well, loads of people do that. Like I did. I did business. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Loads of people do arts or geography or whatever it is. You know, it's different when you're like, I want to be an accountant or I want to be a lawyer. You know, it's very specific.
Yeah.
But when I look back now, like most people I went to school with who did like specific things, they're not doing that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
There's too much pressure. I think it's slightly changing. There's too much pressure on kids to like, what do you want to do at like 16?
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know. I want to play football.
Yeah, literally.
I want to play rugby.
That's
what you honestly, do you know what I want to do? I want to play football.
I genuinely think every single person who comes out of school should have to do a year work of service in any way, shape or form. Learn about people, learn about a bit of graft, a bit of rolling up the sleeves. Not that you should want to strive to do it forever, but it tells you it tells you a lot about people. It makes you learn a lot about the greater world, the bigger, broader spectrum, because you have time as well to think about it and really get an understanding of what you really want to do then.
Yeah, having a part-time job as a kid is huge. I think the apprenticeship model, I keep banging on about this in the podcast, I'd love to see the apprenticeship model kind of expanded out to a lot more things.
Yeah.
I think, you know, you go into college for 4 years, you come out and you're like, I know a little bit of theory, but very little practice.
Yeah.
Whereas those 4 years could be blended. And a lot of colleges are starting to do a better blend, but it should nearly be a 50-50.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy who's studying to be a carpenter, and like they go in and then out, and then in and then out. I think that makes so much sense.
Hands on, like, yeah.
They go in for a little bit, then out for 6 months, then in for a little bit, then out for 6 months. It makes so much sense because you're like, right, I'm getting both here.
Yeah.
I'm learning enough, then I go out and learn, and they always have someone who's, you know, they're apprenticing under somebody, and that they teach them, they pass on the knowledge. Like it's just the most powerful way in the world.
Everything with intent. If you do whatever it is you're doing, as long as there's like intent on what you are trying to execute, it makes it embedded in your wiring of your brain. It makes you understand the process. It makes you confident, competent, and then you get to decide if you really want to do that or not. But as long as there's intent and purpose, and it's giving enough knowledge to understand why you're trying to do it, everybody will try it.
So what was the end of the story with Leinster?
So I ended up needing to get a shoulder surgery on my final year, and timing was everything. And I was behind the likes of Johnny and Ian Madigan and Jimmy Gopperth and Ross Byrne and Joey Carberry and myself at the same time, and Cathal Marsh as well, who like all good pals. But like we were all there at the same time with this conveyor belt of just ridiculous talent. And I was kind of like a 10/12/15, and that was an amazing asset at the time because it got your foot in the door. The second year I kind of started getting my caps, but I had an absolute mare of a game against Edinburgh where I was on the bench and I was told that I wasn't going to be selected. I wasn't going to be brought on unless there was an injury. So I did the unforgivable thing of actually kind of just cruising through the week then, and just being like, because I was told at the start of the week, and I was like, all right, well then, Christ, well, might as well just like enjoy my week then and not get upset about it kind of thing. So I was like having fun at training more so than being dialed in. And then lo and behold, Ben Teo, he was signing at the time, and he broke his arm. He was his first senior cap, and he broke his arm after like 22 minutes. And I'm behind the post, and I'm getting called in last minute. It's like, Stevie, you're on now. I'm like, oh God, okay. And end up dropping like 2 or 3 balls in the game and never really recovered from it.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Do you think that was the week you'd kind of switched off mentally? Do you think that was what it was?
Yeah, it's at that level. It's the compounding effects. Like, as in when you can't get away with just cruising. Like, you can't just tick boxes, clock in, clock out. Like, you have to be on it, and not realizing that as well as at a young age. Because, Joe, I would have been confident to have been one of the best distributors in the club at the time. Like, I remember Gordon Darcy telling me when I was walking in the door, he was like, what I would give to have your hands. Like, just because that's all I did. I just passed the ball everywhere, always had it. And I didn't even know that I was training. But he's like, what I would give to have your distribution skills. And then I'm like, that's amazing. That's like star-studded, just like Jesus Christ, Gordon Darcy was telling me, like, and he's togging out with Ireland and Lions every fucking week, and they're just like, what the hell? And I probably never got over that. Like, I never got quick enough to stop idolizing the lads and just being like, I'm here now. Like, right. I'm at that level. I'd never really tunnel vision doubled down on, it's my time. I never really went
Why
for
do you
that.
think so? Because you're so driven as a kid and you seem to be quite a driven individual. Why do you think you weren't able to switch into that mode?
Because as I look back at it now, I'm like, although my rugby was at its peak, and if I look back at any of my rugby accolades, when that is at its peak, a lot of Steve's other elements of life are on the floor. Like, I wasn't seeing my mates. My relationship with my parents wasn't great. I got very like argy-bargy with my father when it came to an opinion battles of rugby, as an example, which used to be something that would have brought us together. I like, yeah, just, I suppose, and like, I'm quite a creative, like, I come from a very creative background, and my friends and my family are everything to me. And having to sacrifice that for so long and not really see the gain as quick as you would have liked at a young age. I just like reflecting back on it when you get those knocks and you have to go to like New Zealand as an example to like keep this dream going. You start questioning your why a lot. And I'm like, although I'm surging and going places in one realm, I'm not really able to balance it with the other bits in my life that I really want to be peak as well.
So was that conflict tearing you apart? Was that distracting your focus?
So, yeah. And then I start making decisions that I'm like, I'm not going to go to bed at 9 o'clock and I'm going to go play cards with the lads on Tuesday night. And not that there was like booze involved or anything like that, but like, again, compounding things like going to bed at 12:30 as opposed to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And you got to be on your shit at fucking training. And you think you're young enough and bold enough and able to do it all. Like, I look back at it being like, yeah. And then I'm like, do I regret those decisions? I'm like, no, because, I consciously was making those decisions. I believe I was making those decisions consciously because I wanted to have my friends along with me. Like, the best memories that I have are the moments of like beating France in Athlone, and there was a bus literally of fans dedicated to me to come down, from my club, my friends, my family. And I didn't really care about winning. It was when they ran on the pitch afterwards, I was just like, this is the greatest moment in the world. And yeah, I just think you always subtly know that in the back. And I'm like, do I want to sacrifice that anymore? Like, as in, I don't know. So I think those decisions then, those decision-making processes, and when it's not going your way and you should really double down on going harder because you got the knock in the teeth, I think I kind of lost that fight.
How did that impact you?
Devastating, obviously. Like, big transition to overcome that. And even getting to speak about it now, like, shows the growth over the last 6 years. Like, there's times where like it's even hard to talk about because it was me, it's my identity. And it's like there's 2 years where I couldn't even step foot near a rugby pitch. Like,
really?
Couldn't go to a match, unfollowed every page, like, didn't want to see anything or anybody.
Just when you retired?
Yeah.
Or when you left Leinster?
Yeah, when I was well, Leinster, like, that was a big one, but then like went to New Zealand to go back to fall in love with the game, which happened very quickly, but then again got offered a contract very quickly.
How do you end up in New Zealand?
My old coach in Leinster, Kurt McQuilkin, he was defence coach at the time, and that was my bread and butter. I loved defending, especially as an out half. You can see everything and you can manage it, and I loved it. And we got on like a house on fire, even though I wasn't really selected in the senior squad. I was like defence captain and stuff like that in any teams. And long story short, Gavin Thornbury as well, one of my best mates, he went down because he was in a similar, he was the grade above me, so he was on a senior contract, but went down to New Zealand to go play club season. I had just been let go of Leinster, repairing my shoulder, coming out of that 16-week rehab program to then not really knowing what I was going to do. And I ended up taking a job in like a sports and business magazine for 3 weeks, and then get a phone call from Kurt just being like, what are you doing? Like, where are you in life? What's going on? And I'm like,
out of the blue.
Out of the blue. He was going back to New Zealand at the time because his dad was actually quite sick. And he just wanted to know what I was doing because he knew that Gavi was going down. And he's like, would you have any interest in coming down here? Like, and I was like, I'll think about it. And did a bit of research and then ended up going to a place called Wanganui, which is, it's, even people in New Zealand are shocked when you say you go to a place like Wanganui because it's the equivalent of, now no offense to any comparison I'm about to give here, but it's the equivalent of like a Kiwi coming up here and being like, yeah, I'm going to Ireland. It's like, whereabouts you living? It's like in Offaly in Burdare. Like, just so like, why the fuck are you going to there? Like,
I was dying to know where you're
there's a real reason that you're going there. And like, I'm handing my passport over in New Zealand, in Auckland, and I'm just like, well, that doesn't sound like an Irish accent. Or that doesn't sound like an accent from here. And I was like, where are you from? It's like, Ireland. It's like, and where are you going? I'm like, Wanganui. And they're just like, why the fuck are you going to Wanganui? And like literally like staring at me. It's like, what the why are you doing that?
So how long were you down there?
I only ended up doing 12 weeks.
Wow.
But I'd signed out like big, goodbyes and everything. And my mates take the piss out of me. Like, you went down for a holiday in Wanganui. Like, but I signed up for 2 years in my head. I was like, I'm going down. I just want to get away from the Irish rugby scene. It was, consuming me. It was taking over everything.
So why 12 weeks?
Because I got offered a contract then while I was down there to come back to Munster. Felix Jones and God bless him, Anthony Foley as well, had signed me when Razzie Erasmus had just came in, and had to think long and hard about it. My dad actually even came down to New Zealand to tell me. He didn't tell me over the phone. He wanted to come and visit and tell me in person. He's like, look, are you enjoying it? I was like, I'm absolutely fucking loving it. And he goes, well, I hate to even put this decision-making process on your plate here, like, but Munster are looking for you if you want to look at it. And I was like, oh my God, like, just after really overcoming it, and I was like, oh my God, now do I really want to undo it? I'm just after seeing, like, in terms of like falling back in love with the game and the why I love it. And yeah, of course, it's a shot. I just don't think I could ever live with myself if I didn't take it. So it wasn't as easy as just being like, yeah, I'm gone. Like, fucking telling even the longest lads who barely knew me, they didn't know how big of a deal it was for me to even go down there, to then make a decision to leave. I'm like trying to tell them in the change room, bawling my eyes out, crying, like, and I don't even know these guys. There's like, who the hell is this lad? Like, but yeah, it just meant so much to me. And then ended up coming back to Munster, kind of in that interim period of like setting up, living in the hotel for a couple of weeks until I got sorted. Managed to live with Dave Kilcoyne for a bit, which was great crack, wild. But then in the interim, in that period of like living in the hotel and stuff, God bless him, Anthony Foley passed away. And that was where my relationship was kind of built off. Like, Anthony would have, and Felix both would have been kind of like, I suppose, following my career. I had some sort of credit under the belt then with those two, but God, Razzie had no idea who Steve Crosbie was. Like, so it's kind of like devastating that he obviously had passed. It was shock for the club, but the last thing, and I was on a short-term contract, it was only 3 months. So the last thing that anybody was like kind of worrying about was Steve's development. So what looked like a great opportunity on paper, just at the flip of a switch kind of changed. And yeah, then the story gets even wilder where it's in January and my contract ends and I go back to watch a UCD game in Sea Point after Gav comes back from his time in New Zealand, and we're at the side of the pitch and I get a random phone call, missed call and voice note, and it's Pat Lam ringing me to see if I'd go down to Connacht. And then I get a missed phone call from my other buddy, Tom Farrell, who's like, are you after getting a phone call from Pat? I was like, yeah. It's like, me too. He's playing out in London at the time. And he's like, will we go? It's like, let's go for it. Why not? Like, just, we clearly gotten to a level that we had a bit of clout to be able to, like, be warranted a crack anyway. Went down there in January mid-season and yeah, managed to secure a contract there, but Pat had already announced that he was leaving as well at the time. So I'm trying to build a relationship with coaches and I'm like, but he's gone. And then I'm like, where am I? Like, who's coming in? Like, do they even know that I exist? How do I build this relationship then with this new person coming in? And yeah, then Kieran Keane came in and, thought that I was getting on incredibly well, had a great pre-season. And yeah, I just had a great game and thought that I was going to absolutely get the nod. Then the following week, had a man of the match performance, and I was fighting for I was fighting for a jersey against Jack Carty, a great pal of mine as well. And I couldn't have done any more. Like, potential man of the match performance kind of thing, but taken off after 65 minutes. But like, great, like, that couldn't have gone better. It's the best game I've had in years. Think that I'm getting the nod now next week, and then just get this devastating like call. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, didn't get picked. Like, what the hell did I do? And like, Jack even comes up to me and like, Jesus, I don't know. Like,
so they ring you and say, look, we're not renewing your contract.
Well, it's not even that. It's a presentation. You're all in the team room, and it's like, team this week, put up And it's like that moment of like,
Oh, you weren't starting next week.
wasn't
Sorry.
starting the following
Okay,
week, yeah.
okay.
But again, I'm under time pressure because my contract's coming up, and I'm like, I need to fucking be starting here. I need to get this knot. Like, if I don't, I'm done. Like, you know.
It's
And
so interesting, and thank you for being so honest. It's so interesting to get this insight, because I think a lot of people would have looked at you, career or professional sports people, and go, "Oh wow,
yeah,
what a cool life,"
yeah,
but they forget about all the stuff that goes into it. Even the little bits you said there about he signed me, but then he left. Then he signed me, but then he was gone. Like, as you said, those sliding doors moments of like,
yeah. And again, I'm a very relationship oriented guy. Like, again, a lot of people, a lot of players in particular, like, they're just so processed and so focused on them. I don't work well unless I've got others around me to work off. And I'm that way in a time of a player, and I'm that way in business, I'm that way with anything. Like, I need people to bounce ideas, get the best out of me, because what I'd like doing, I don't know if I'm any good at it or not, but what I like doing is getting people bought in to aim for something. I think I'm good
we'll
at
get
that.
onto the sauna bit in a minute, where you kind of you're so passionate about that. Has that held you back?
Being too passionate, or
Being needing other people to come with you on the journey?
probably, because I'd say it probably undersells me a bit. And then I'm like, but then I think it's a great asset as well in the same sentence. I think it's an amazing thing to have when I get to points of management and get to a point of getting other people to buy in. I know that I probably over communicate, if anything, passionately, but I just see it as a benefit now, but probably at a younger age, where, again, in my position as well, and I hate bringing it back to rugby all the time, it's just what I've lived and breathed, and I always do comparisons of it. Like, in my position in particular, at 10, you're kind of the quarterback. You're expected to manage everything, and you're telling, like, Brad Thorne to get the fuck around the corner faster when you're 19 years of age, but yes, you're idolizing him in the same breath, and it's hard to, like, conceptualize where you are. And I think I definitely undersold my ability in, like, seeing space or seeing what's the right decision and just doubling down on it. I was very good at it among my own peers, but then that level up where I'm like, oh, they know more than me. Like, I'm not going to chirp up here. I'm not going to say what I think is the right call because, we're in the middle of a play and I pass it to Darcy because he overrides my call, as an example, where I'm just like, that was the wrong call. And like, kind of going through it just for the sake of doing it. But I learn now that it's like, with the hard knocks of it, you back yourself, you double down on it. So in the same breath, it definitely hindered me at certain stages, but now I'm like, I learned from it. Not saying I've learned from it, but I learned from it. I'm like, follow your gut intuition. Don't overthink it. Just go full body in.
Why I'm laboring this point is that I think business and sport mirror each other exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of laboring this. While we're talking about rugby, we're talking about sport. It's the same for business. All the stuff you've talked about there is very, very similar to business. What would you say to a young person either starting a business or embarking on their sports career now? What would be the couple of key insights you learned through hard experience?
Yeah. I suppose that point that you said, the sports and business, like, we were told that all the way through. And I hated it as a young guy because I'm like, what the hell is David Gillick coming in and telling you these, like, workshops, or Enda McNulty, a guy I would have absolutely completely idolized, telling me that these are such transitional skills. I'm like, lad, I throw a ball around the place, like on the park. Like, how are you telling me I can bring those skills into an office? And then it's like, you get to a certain point of your career, wherever it is, whatever age you're at, and then you start realizing, oh, right, okay, so being on time is actually deemed a skill. It's like, it's just a non-negotiable in that environment. Or like, what do you mean communication? It's like, you don't even realize you're an expert communicator when you're playing sport, because you have to do everything high speed, in the heat of the moment, change it on a dime. That what was the call is no longer the call. We're changing it now before this ball comes out here because the space in the picture is different, and realizing team building elements of it. And I just think, like, if there's anything that I could say to any young person who's into sport, is you have to think so granularly to understand what that statement means. And it's really difficult unless you get your hand held with one aspect first, something like communication. Do you think you're a good communicator? 9 times out of 10, a lot of young guys would say no. But then you put them in a scenario where it's like, okay, what about we're on the field? This is the call. Do you think that's the right call? No. What would you do then? You would communicate to change the call and make sure that the hooker knows, the winger knows, the second rows know, because there's a line out and you got to change everything on the dime. And you've done that within 5 seconds because everybody's on the same page. We have the same playbook. We know what the call is. But it's just trying to relate it. So like whatever it is that makes you understand it. And for me, it was always rugby. I get it inside out, back to front. So if anybody wants to like compare anything, it's going to be told to me in rugby. And that sounds so fucking weird to some people, but it makes so much sense in my brain. So like the only thing that I'd ever say to anybody is whatever makes sense to you. And if it feels weird, it's definitely the right track. Those 2 things.
Bring us on to the end of the journey then with Connacht. So you were there for how long?
2 years at Connacht.
2 years. Okay.
Well, a year and a half, like a season and a half.
Okay, so decent enough stint. And then as it came to an end, how did it end, or why did it end?
So then I got a phone call at the kind of contract negotiations time. We were playing against Gloucester, and I got a phone call to come meet Kieran Keane in the office. And yeah, just cold-heartedly has been like, look, there's no contract there for you. Thank you for everything you've done, but it's done.
Get the bricks. See it around.
And it's like,
wow.
That was my 3rd time receiving that at that stage. Like it kind of been the first time Leinster, Peter Smith did it, and I'd never thank him enough because he came in the middle of the season, and his first appointment was to like tell the academy guys who got it or who didn't get the contract. And I'll never just thank him for just actually saying it to me, because it's like you're walking on eggshells throughout the, you're trying to hear the whispers, the gossip of the change room. Like, did you get a chat? Did you hear what you're doing next year or whatever? He just came in and just like, Stevie, look, can we go for coffee? Like, I need to tell you this and I need to tell you to your face. And just so
straight up.
Just, and so I can't thank him enough for that. Razzie as well, like, you know, that kind of caught me off guard because I thought that we were getting to a stage, but again, just it's a difficult thing to have to tell anybody. Like, I know he doesn't enjoy doing that. So like at the time you're like, why are you taking this away from me? But you also know he has to do his job. Kieran Keane said it to me, and I kind of could see the writing in the wall at that stage. So I had kind of thought about life after rugby at that stage, even though I had still had an agent getting me contracts to go to like the States or the UK and setting up for worst case scenario, and had offers, which was great. But I'd thought of this concept for the sauna business at the time as well. And yeah, long and hard sessions of writing down what you want, rewriting it.
How did you come to that decision? Because to retire at 26 is incredibly young.
Yeah. I didn't want to, in simple, I didn't want to sacrifice any more than what I had to. I didn't want to sacrifice my standards and what I believe that I was capable of from a rugby playing perspective. I didn't want to downgrade. I wanted to play at that level. And if I wasn't doing that, and I wrote those goals very clearly down, SMART goals, we always say specific, measurable, attainable, realistic targets, and I always told all that. And I used that process and that framework when I walked in the door in Connacht. And I was like, if I'm not hitting these goals by the end of this season, whatever it is, if I'm selected for a contract or not, it's in writing. You're not going anywhere. You're not downgrading. You're not playing at a level that you know that you are more than capable of playing. Because I'd gone the all eggs in the basket route, and there's only so long you can do that as well. And I was realistic about that, you know. I didn't want to chase that egg forever and ever, amen, because that can lead you down a dark hole. And yeah, it was definitely a different road, but I loved it. It was hard, it was heartache, it was great, but like the learnings from it, like I'm just lucky that I'm at a point now where I get to be so proud of it and passionate about it. And I'd lost my passion with it, and that was the decision at the end of the day.
So how do you transition from pro athlete to business owner?
Yeah, a lot of work. It's like start again. We go again.
Where do you start?
thankfully just my support system, but my friends, family, my girlfriend at the time as well, making me realize like if I was to go back to college as an example, which was a choice that I ended up doing, on how that wasn't perceived as a step backwards, where I couldn't see how it wasn't a step backwards because I was always benchmarking off what I was doing on the field. And then it's like, can you not see, and it was just something as clear as this, where it's like, can you not see you're at X rugby and that you're at X with your education? Can you not see how this is progressing when you shift over here? And just that visual.
What did you want to do when you left rugby?
Well, I had the concept of the business, which is the sauna business, trying to get people to sea swim was always my goal with it. And that was from a passion of going for a swim down at the Blackrock diving board in Galway on the way home from training, jumping in the car, going to the local sauna afterwards to heat up, because I just believe nobody likes the actual part of getting freezing cold. It's always the result that you love and that after feeling. And when you've experienced it and you're educated on it, like you yearn for that and you'd happily go through a miserable 2 minutes of this sensation. But yeah, then
so how quickly did you make that idea come to fruition after leaving rugby?
I went back to college to do sport and exercise management because I knew that I would get too caught up in the fun elements of it and the creation side of it and never get off the pot with it. So I needed a framework and I wanted to learn more about it in terms of business. And that was what I did my diploma in UCD, sport and exercise management. So then I was able and selected to go to second year in that course as a mature student. So I went back again, trying to just overcome myself and just swallow a bit of humble pie, going into lecture halls at 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. And when you were like a professional rugby player and you're believing that title and that mantra in your head and you're like, God, how the hell is this not backwards? But again, with that intent on my idea, I knew I had it. I knew I had what I wanted to achieve out of these modules, these big, bold overview titles like facility design management, psychology of sport, marketing, these terms that like when you're growing up, these are just bullet points and they're just titles. But like I'm looking at it from like having an idea of what I want to use these things for, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It's like, wow.
So you were studying with a reason, like you went back to, I'm going to do this because I want to do that. So you studied the degree to enable you
with
to
setting up this business.
With the business. Yeah. So when did the business start?
2019. So I went back to college 2017, had the idea, rang my nearest and dearest. My dad backed me, his buddy and my old teammate Jared Butler as well, who's a part of the business, who's in Connacht, where we became mates and would love going for a sea swim and a sauna together kind of thing. And we're at our end of year social, and when I was leaving Galway, he's like, I have no idea what you're going to be doing, but give us a shout when you know what you're doing, is what he says to me when we're having a few drinks and stuff like that. And I just remember telling him, I was like, look, I've got my idea. It's like, do you want to hear about it? And he's like, yeah. It's like, I'm all in. That sounds.
So what was the idea?
Sauna at a seaside location. It was,
which now sounds like, obviously, but like 2019, it just wasn't done. I think we forget. And I'm going to ask you this in a second, just how much saunas have exploded. But 2019, it just wasn't done. The only time I went to a sauna before 2019 was you're in a nice hotel.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll go into a sauna. You go in for like 90 seconds, go, oh, it's very hot. And you go, then you go into the jacuzzi. Like, that was it. I remember doing that. And I had some idea that it was very good for you. So I tried to start getting into it. But there was very minimal awareness of saunas in Ireland. It was just, hotels had them.
Literally, yeah. So wild saunas is kind of like the title of it, let's say, of the type of sauna operations that are going on at the moment in Ireland that are at the craze, which is amazing. But yeah, there was really only one, like Shirley from Buscabaha, who I think she would have started like 2012, right? But I never experienced Shirley's at that time. But there was also one that was in like a garden kind of beach down in East Cork. I can't even remember the name of it, and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I need to go use this. Can I use it? And there was no process. It was full. I was like, have you any idea when they're done? I'll happily wait here 20 minutes to have a go at it. And he's like, no, I have no idea. I can't, blah, blah, blah. So it was very like, it was like kind of in a garden, like, it was for people privately, really, right? And it was like Christmas time, just after like deciding to go to back to study it, and I was just like, that just frustrated the shit out of me so much. So I never got to experience that because I'd pay 50 quid to get warm again after a winter swim, and just I knew that I wasn't the only person that would have thought that. And then just got into an absolute wormhole of just researching it. Like, is this done? Where is it done? How can it be done? Just was not taking no as an answer. Started building up a case study of it, and again, I've never done that in my life. Like, I'd say if somebody saw the shite that I presented to somebody to ask them to give me this a go, I'd say they'd probably laugh in your face now if you attempted to actually present it. But again, just still tried.
Did people get it?
It took a while. Again, passionate answers where they see this Wanderley wagon. It was always like referred to. It was just a barrel on a trailer, and swimmers are, I think they're the greatest people in the world, but passionate, and they're all in or nothing type of characters usually if they're a sea swimmer.
Right.
And then we rock up with the 40 foot, and they're like, "What the hell is this thing?" And it's like,
So that was your first thing. You decided you're going to bring it to the 40 foot and let people pay as you go.
well, but I mean, I knew didn't have all the answers. So when I got I rocked up into Dunleary Town Hall in a suited and booted, and was in the middle of like marketing and presentation skills that I'm learning from college. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tailor this now, make a professional deck and make sure it looks really good. And I'm like, suited and booted, go up to the desk. I was like, because I kind of been turned away 2 or 3 times, got no responses from any emails. And I just, like, the 40 foot was a swimming location. We have a swimming group still called the Teabaggers. And when I say swimming, like, we don't swim. It's literally jump in, scream, shout and roar, give out about how cold it is, get out, go for a coffee, catch up. That's in a nutshell. It's still going to this day. It's like 7 years in. But it just annoyed me every time I was like going at like 6:30 in the morning on a Friday to go for that swim. I drive past Town Hall. I'm like, this is so annoying. Like, I just got no answer. So I was like, right, I was going to go in. No meeting booked, nothing. Rocked up, Joe blogs, have no idea what I'm going to expect here, but it's actually oblivious on how these processes and systems work usually, on how to book an appointment and do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how are you, sir? I'd love to just speak to somebody. I've got a really cool idea that I know somebody's going to love. Like, I'm just that bland. And I was like, who the hell is this? That kind of thing. It's like, I'll talk to you, so go on. And I was like, all right. I took out my laptop without even a hesitation, had the presentation ready to go. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is where we want to go. This, like, very clear ask. And he was like, show me where you want to go. And I presented Sea Point as a location because I knew I hadn't all the answers. So I wanted to use Sea Point to learn on how I get to 40 foot. Brought him down. Can't do this because of trafficking issues here, and can't do this because of like X amount of distance needed for disability parking and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, right. Knew I didn't have any answers, but got chatting away. Loved the rugby, and we were chatting away and having a great chat. I was like, he's like, but keep going now, fella. You're not too far off. And I was like, I just need to show you somewhere else. Like, just learning what I just learned there from his mouth. And I was like, there's none of those issues at the 40 foot. I was like, so let me bring you here now. I'm gonna drive you down. Drive past Town Hall, get him to the location, and I was like, what about here? And he is like, you're a bollocks. And so got to trial in writing, and as long as nobody was able to complain about us using a car parking space, I was happy to sign it. And we did, and got that trial period. And then it was 2 weeks into it, nobody was using it because I kept on saying to people, you need to try this. Swimmers, again, young fella, telling you what you need. They're like, the fuck's your man? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, why is nobody getting this? Like, why is nobody getting this? And then
So you rocked up, you were there every day, the sauna firing up.
Yeah.
And
Lads
people were
giving
just
me the
walking past
stare.
you. Really?
Waving the stare because I'm in their parking space is what they have perceived, because they look after it. And it's an amazing community, and I love what they have going on there, because they look after the space, and they clearly are like passionate about it, and that's why it's such a sacred swimming location.
In fact, you were bringing something new and exciting to it. Didn't register?
No, not at the time. And again, it's just like you keep turning up, you do it every day, and just
Did you start to get disheartened after the first 2 weeks?
Absolutely. I was like, this is not going to work. Like, I was like, there's no way.
You thought
Like,
the idea was wrong.
I thought it was like, is this not fixing every swimmer's issue? Or like, is this not making the swimming experience even more of an experience, is where I had built this whole thing off. Because I was just like, and I'd done it as well at this time. And I was doing it from Galway, where I was jumping in the Blackwood diving board, but jumping in my car to drive to the gym to do it. And I was like, could you imagine if you could just eliminate this 10-minute like shivering and shattering, and your shoulders are up here, and the second you get warm again, it's like, oh my God.
So what was the turning point then after 2 weeks?
I managed to get an ear of one of the stonecutter swimmers that are there, like, to literally go, look, I understand now, lads. I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep turning up, and I'm really sorry. Like, but the council have allowed me to park here. But like, I've really noticed now, like, I keep on telling you that you need this, and I just want to say I'm sorry, and let's start again. And what I would love for you to do is try this once, and I will never ever ask you again. He took it. There was 4 others that didn't. He took it, and he sat in there for 10 minutes, and I'm just like, it's like waiting for like an exam result or something. I'm shitting it. I'm like, this is the
there
make or
literally
break.
nobody using it?
No.
That's wild when you think of how popular saunas are now.
And again, like, yeah, I just like, I had all the research done. Like, I just a week of like sitting at the rock of the 40 foot. Like, I sound absolutely stone crazy, but like, I had a clicker, and I literally was just clicking how many people are actually even down there to start with, just out of pure fascination. I was like, oh my God, there's so many people that actually come to this thing, from like the James Joyce Tower visitors, people who just like live locally, doing a walk, a run, a cycle. Like, it is a bubbling hotspot of activity.
So you knew you had the passing traffic, but they just didn't have the awareness of what the offering was.
Yeah.
I think this is a good learning for a lot of people, because I think I call it the entrepreneur experiment for a reason, because businesses are just experiments. Like, you ran your experiment. You're like, right, I'll go down here now and I'll try figure this out.
Yeah.
There's no way of knowing that without getting skin in the game.
And if I'm telling that to any of my mates or anything like that, they're like, oh my God, so he's having a midlife crisis. Like, he's after turning down a professional contract to go pursue this thing, towing a hot box around the place is what he's trying to do. And he fully wholeheartedly believes it. Like, my closest mates would have been my biggest supporters, but also would have been like, oh, I really hope it works for him, but I don't know if it's going to work. Kind of thing.
Timing's big. The importance of timing in business, timing and luck in business, timing and luck in sport.
Exactly. Swing doors, timing.
You know, you could have plugged away at that for the next 3 years and it might have stayed the same, but then it all shifted. So what was the tipping point where you actually were like, oh, actually, I think I'm right? But you knew you were kind of right, but when did people see what you saw?
I suppose it was a passion project, first of all. That's like, it was like, could it be done first? It was never like, could I make a shit ton of cash out of this? Like, that was not my goal ever. And I suppose that's like the hindrance of it as well, potentially. Where that moment where I had the stonecutter swimmer in, and I've just like, it was that like that feeling that I hadn't felt in like 2.5 years, of like that make or break kind of like nerves, like as if you're going for a kick kind of thing to win the game, like feeling. And he came out and he literally stares me in the eye and he's like, you're a bollocks. And I was like, why? He's like, you're after ruining sea swimming for me. I need this. And then he dragged the others to come and do it. They're all in. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. They're splashing the Lolo all over the rocks, and the place is steaming up like a mad thing. I've like, again, like just the environment, the crack they were having at 6:30 in the morning in the middle of fucking September. I was just like, this is what it's about. It's the most magical, like social bonding moments ever, because you've endured through a really tough thing and you're getting the reward for it. And then you're doubling down on the social connection of it, because you get a place to actually talk about like how cold it was or how much nicer that swim was today, because no swim's ever the same. Every day is different. And yeah, that was the moment where I just like, I kind of relaxed, which I think is like the compound of like how then you're probably a bit more approachable then. And people are like, we're Irish, like we're nosy. We need to know everything about everything. And when I'm standing there, there's no signage on the thing. It's a barrel. Because I knew, well, in my head, it's like if I read sauna or sauna, I would have made up my opinion without actually experiencing it. So there was no signage on purpose, so that we got a chance to actually explain what the hell's going on here, because it was different, because it was a
bold move. No signage on purpose.
Yeah, like it was a bold move.
Was
but
that
like,
a good idea?
I think so to this day.
Sticking to your
100%.
guns.
I do.
I'm starting to see that stubbornness come through.
Yeah, I have it.
Because I
100%.
wouldn't even look at you.
Well,
If someone hadn't brought me there, I wouldn't even look at you. I'm like, your man's going to burn the ear off me now.
Which
you got
is
5 minutes to talk about Sauna.
Which is
no, I don't, Steve.
Which is absolutely my point. Is it just takes one person who actually wants to, but I guarantee you'll listen from afar and try to listen to what I'm saying. You don't want to talk to me directly, but you will absolutely hang around if you're a somewhat level of interest of what the hell is that, and you hear me talking to somebody else, you'll stand around. So although I'm talking directly to one person, as I'm talking, there is over 50 people around the 40 foot all the time. So every time you say it, you're talking to 50 people without even really noting.
So you don't think a sauna, €10, 40 minutes?
No, not at the time. No, because
really?
the perception of sauna at the time, although it seems so far away now, at the time, it was like, sure, that's for, people who are like high end and have the spare disposable income to be a part of these like, facilities that have saunas in them, because it was perceived as
that's exactly my point.
class.
Were you not like democratizing it for everybody? Going, if I saw it like sauna, €10, 45 minutes, I'm like, sweet.
No, because you've experienced it, because we're in a privileged position to have experienced sauna, but there's so many people who have never even experienced a sauna, and they go, that's for a load of X people who just get to do it because they have spare time and money, like two precious commodities, and they get to go and avail of these places because they're part of these membership clubs and all that stuff. But having no sign, level playing field, it was just a barrel down there, and I got to welcome people just to have a chat. There was no sell, there was no push, there was no like, come try this guys, come have a look. It was literally just like me feeding the stove, and all that alone creates curiosity, creates interest, and you get real honest conversations face to face, and then they'll go away and say what they say and what they want. And that's why we called it Fad Saoil, because no matter what I did, I knew it was going to be called the sauna at the beach at the time. So thinking longer term, like Fad Saoil is longevity, it's long life, it's an old Irish sláinte, it's to celebrating this act and many others, but it was always about just trying to get everybody on a level playing field.
Why have saunas exploded in popularity?
So many reasons. I'd say the kind of, I suppose, why it's probably gotten to a level of like can't keep up with this kind of mantras, because probably after effect of COVID, there's been a massive one. People realizing there's way more to this thing called life. People wanting more out of it, people thinking more about their health, making more decisions every day and realizing those decisions and actually being very aware of those things. And I think we're in a loneliness crisis in the world. And I think it's really a very rare rituals environment that actually brings a bit of peace and calm and safety. And when you actually read it, like Rosanna Cooney as well is doing an amazing work on this in terms of like our ancient culture with sauna and sweat lodges. We have such a long history with it that I didn't know this at the time, but I was using my time in college as well to research it from a very focused like recovery method approach. And like I love that I used sea swimming as a repair and recovery method during rugby and stuff. But people always would just use that as an excuse for me being like, you're a professional rugby player, you have to do that. And I was like, yeah, but I like, if you just did it, you'd get it. And then we go for a cup of coffee afterwards. And it was always about creating this perfect day. It was like, let's get up, let's go for sea swim, let's do something tough, let's go for a sauna, and then let's go for a cup of coffee. And if I have 3 hours of my day on a Sunday to fit all that in, that to me is just the best day that I could actually want to do.
So your timing probably couldn't have been better, but also couldn't have been worse. Because a year
COVID
later,
happened. Yeah.
COVID happened. So
Yeah.
you were in business about a year?
7 months, yeah. September 2019, COVID, March 2020.
So what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was really hard. Really tough. But again, like the old cliches, like control what you can control, get on to different mentors. Like, what can I do? Like, how can we still be present? Because we had such a booming effect then after we cracked the code and that ripple effect. And it was kind of this little secret, and like the lack of marketing. And it was a blessing in disguise because nobody wanted to let it out, but everybody kept on telling everybody. So like it was an incredible little experiment where it's like less is more, which I loved. It's very old school kind of marketing as well. But then I suppose, COVID hit, and I start talking to like a mentor, Kate Hickey, in the local enterprise office in Dunleary. She just made me realize that like although I can't physically give our service anymore, you can still help with other ways by making a product maybe, or aligning ourselves with other products that are recovery focused or wellness focused. So we came out with like acupressure mats, like the Shakti mats. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
I saw them, yeah.
Started doing those online classes, breathwork method classes online, selling recovery sliders with UFOs at the time. And before I knew it, I was in the Hinch at the time for COVID, and me and the post lady Mary were the best of mates. She's the only person I actually had an interaction with throughout every day other than my girlfriend. And yeah, I was just literally going for swims and selling sliders and trying to think, okay, when is this COVID thing going to finish? Like, how do we think about business afterwards? Because we had opened up a second location at the back of Sandy Cove Store Yard as well. That had to end. And then like the bank account was nearly empty at this stage, just with all the expenses that come with it. And then I had to double down and take out another loan to kind of like just keep it afloat, and didn't even know what the hell I was going to do, but presented a business plan to make up an idea to just keep us surviving. To then, COVID was kind of near the end and we could actually plan, and I ended up getting a shipping container and converted that into a sauna because it was still deemed mobile at the time. It wasn't permanent, and it hit all the bylaws that were required in order for something like ours to actually be deemed as let to be operating. And then I was like, I had no idea where I was going at the time. So we just kept on peppering different councils, and nobody would really get back, which was difficult because it was never going to be the top priority for anybody's list. And then, I got a shot to bring it down to Bray Seafront for a kind of activation, let's say, and not a permanent site. And then managed to, again, using what you'd built up in your other profession with your contacts, and getting the All Blacks down for when they were coming over in November for their recovery day down on the beach. And that was when we really saw a massive surge, and that's when we had signage and everything there at that stage.
Weird.
Brand.
Marketing works, huh? Who would have thought it?
You have to go slowly, grassroots. And then, the guys were great day. And then we managed to have a couple of conversations then, and managed to get another chance down in Greystones in North Beach for 2 weeks as a trial. And then, that landed us up into Rise of the Cove with Sig Lynn. In Greystones now, which has like been our HQ since 2022.
Your resilience is definitely the one thing I remember thinking about you. It's like, oh, Steve's here now. Oh, Steve's here now. Steve's here now. Like you just kept, it's like putting your finger in a dam. You just kept popping up over here. And I was like, it was just because obviously we'd followed you since like 40 foot. And then we're like, okay, he's here now. Okay, he's here now. Like, did that come directly from rugby? I don't want to go back too much in the rugby again, but like, where did that resilience come from? Because I was like, I remember at the time thinking, well, fair play to him for sticking at this, because it's not exactly printing cash, not exactly a mad lucrative business, new clients every time. Like, what kept you going?
I'd say naivety and passion, and just wanted to make it work was always the goal. But that got to a level of exhaustion to having to actually start thinking about it as a business was a transition as well, because the short-term focus was kind of resolved. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm busy, as we were talking about earlier, like as in I'm busy, sure, I'm doing something. But like I'm getting up at 4 o'clock every morning, towing that sauna to location, operate, bring it back, still do college. I was trying to train with the Irish Sevens at the time as well, because I just wasn't letting go of the rugby thing either. I was captain of my rugby club, had a girlfriend at the time. I still have the girlfriend at the time, fiance now, and wife to be, which is fantastic. But trying to juggle like these 7 different plates, because I was staying so busy but not focused on where I'm trying to go with this thing. And that's where the transition of actually trying to make this a business came, where another cold hard like learning of realizing you can't spin all 7 plates, and just had to sit down, reassess and replan and do it goals and the road mapping and everything that is so important to have a North Star to get to. Although it normally doesn't go the way that you map it out, it doesn't really matter as long as you just keep getting to where you're trying to get to. So that was another real learning curve. I'm still learning. I would never tell somebody to go the way that I went with anything. But I can tell you how the experience and the results came from it, because sometimes the marketing idea, like sometimes the not so normal ways is kind of what resonates with people as well. And I like being different, whether that's a blessing or a curse. I just, even if it's not as successful in one measure, the fact that it's unique is what's important to me a lot of the time.
So Greystones became the HQ, but you now have 6?
We've 5 with another coming.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so I think that's quite a lot of growth. But did the sauna wave, did you ever feel you were missing out? Because they popped up everywhere. So I remember at the time thinking, Steve was the OG here. He was like the very first one, because you were the innovator in the space. But then they started popping up everywhere. Like I've never, maybe paddle, but I've never seen anything explode as quick, right?
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. There was saunas on every beach in Ireland, which was cool. And it's rolled back a wee bit, I think, after COVID. But like, did you ever feel you missed out?
Definitely. At the time, it's so frustrating. You're like, you put in the time, effort, and energy and heartache to put in an application into a location, and then they don't get back to you. And then lo and behold, oh, there's a sauna there out of nowhere. And you're like, and then it happens on a repetitive thing, and you're like, okay, this is going to keep happening. Just think bigger picture and think this is great for the industry. You can't be everywhere. And as long as everybody is doing what they should be doing and doing it well, and not giving a bad stigma to the actual market, and councils are working with operators that are trying to do everything that they want to do, but because we were so naive at how in its infancy it was, I'd say that was probably the friction that was happening with the conversations of councils, because they didn't know what to go off. You know, they're going to be risk averse because it's dealing with the public, which is
so. Were
100%.
People asking for forgiveness, not permission, or they just
there was a bit of that
rocking it up?
There was a bit of that, of course there is. And again, when I hated that as well. I didn't want to have to worry about the potential success of it. I wanted to have everything done before we got to actually operate, because I knew that I was going to be busy enough as it was to have to be worrying about that. It's like, we got insurance, like paid out the nose for insurance, that had to basically create a policy because it wasn't a thing, like, you know. And again, just when you're staring down the fee that's being asked of you before you even open the door, and it's like a bootlace business, even though it was a passion project more so. And I now look at that as my dad and stuff are just like, look, let's let him try it again. Like, if there's one thing that Steve definitely has credit for, is he'll give it everything. So whether it was, again, is it a good idea? I don't know, but I just needed to figure it out. I needed to pick up the rock and have a look at it. And I think that's where the conflict was with the councils and with operators. And then that's where the frustration came from my side, where it's like, I believed that I could be everywhere. And like, I thought that I could have a sauna in every county. It was one of my business goals as well. Like when I first started.
Not a terrible goal, to be fair.
It wasn't at all at the time, but I'm just like, I was still operating like intently every single day, and wouldn't let anybody in either, to my own like kind of lack of progression then, because I wouldn't let people with my babies. It was my passion project. It wasn't a business, and that hindered stuff. And then,
have you been able to get over that?
Definitely. Like, I'm at the point now I was talking about earlier, where I get to manage, and I get to describe the path and map it out with my team, and I am loving that side of it now.
How did you give that up? Because that's a thing that holds back many founders. How did you give up that baby?
It was my better half pushing me to do it, because I was burnt out. Like, everything was like, no coincidence, your body is your measure, and it tells you what's going on. Like, I pulled my hamstring, it's like bags under my eyes. It wasn't even like I'm there trying to promote health and well-being. I look like a bag of shit. I was just going to say,
for a wellness entrepreneur, like, it is ironic, like, but it's so true often. Like, you know, it's like the cobbler's kids go shoeless. Like, it's literally too close to home.
Literally. And you're there trying to promote this. And it's like, like, how can you actually say that with an honest face if you're not living what you're saying? Is where I was getting to, because that was the conflict. But then it was like, go and make sure you communicate a process of a job that needs to be executed, and you'll get to see where you're at then. And if it's shite and terrible, and the person that you put in there, then it's on you as the person who's trying to make this process to put your time effort to fix that instead, as opposed to you just swapping in and be like, look, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Like, nobody can do it like me. Like,
there's a lot of moving parts though. I always think that about the sauna business and things like that. Like, you know, you need staff, and then you have to feed it every hour or every half an hour. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on.
yeah.
They have new clients all the time.
And again, it's tough, but naive of it as well a lot of the time, and just like, sure, that's how you work. Like, isn't that's what it is? And like, when you actually process, there's so many touch points and so many key things that you need to make sure that everybody's on. But that's what we're getting to now with what we're trying to achieve with our team. And it's like, again, like the vagueness of the brand where we're at right now, I kind of just love being in the gray, because you can't look at somebody and say that person's a Fad Saoiler, like, which I love, because I just don't believe in titles. I don't ever want to be seen above or below anybody. I just love having a good chat with somebody, and everybody deserves to be listened to. And I just think that's what the room kind of replicates as an environment that hosts conversation. Again, Finnish proverb, like, you can have what is it, 99% of a man's problems can be fixed by a sauna, is an old like kind of thing that they say. And I just think there's so much to it. Like, keep it simple, stupid kind of things, where we're constantly stimulated. There's no coincidence that people are looking for places to be off their phone. And there's even devices now that you attach, or that you put it into a lockbox and have to keep it away and need a code to actually physically get you away from that. Is just fascinating to me. That's where we're at. And I'm guilty of it too, because you're on the business, you're trying to do everything on Instagram and marketing and all that stuff. It's just no coincidence that people try it and that they come back and love it, because it's probably the closest thing to a silver bullet type nervous system shift, where you get that little gap for them just to think a little bit differently. And when they come out and they start reflecting on the experience, their chest feels a bit lighter. They weren't thinking about their to-do list for that split second. They weren't thinking about the next task, and they had that moment of presence because we had a great chat, because we both said that the room was hot, or that I was wearing a sauna hat and I explained to you why that is, or whatever. And it's just trying to slow down life is what the whole...
I gotta ask you, since you're here, what is the ideal sauna protocol? Because you see so many mixed messages. Maybe there isn't one, but for like someone listening, maybe they dabble or maybe they don't do it at all, what would be a great sauna protocol for them? Just even in a session, and then say over a week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe in protocols. I don't like to program people. I don't want people to just go so hard black and white on things, because everything's different. How you even get there, what you've eaten, what you've done before, or what you're going to do after, all affects. So like the most universal one, let's say, is to go in first, to the sauna first. Heat up, raise your core temperature. Within 5 to 7 minutes, roughly on an average, you will have your heart rate raising. You will then start to sweat. After 7 to 10 minutes, you will feel it. Your blood will start working, because your body's working. It's burning calories. It's creating energy. And then that's where hopefully the want to converse with somebody tends to come out, because it's hormesis, which is a stressor, and that stressor tends to get people to be a bit more transparent on what they actually really think about something. It's like, Jesus, it's really hot in here, like, and then somebody goes, thank God it's not just me, I was really struggling, and I heard you have to stay in here for 15 minutes, otherwise it doesn't really do anything. And I'm just like, trying to debunk that methodology and myths is kind of where we're at with the industry, which is cool, because there's a level of interest to educate now. And I just think, everybody has got to, my best advice would be to go in and have no measure other than your mind and your body. And when you're too hot, no matter what, get out of the room. Feel that sensation of the fresh air when you open the door, because it's outdoors, be it hot, cold, windy, rainy. And then just take that moment of presence, reflect on what you just did, and ask yourself how you feel after it. then the magic starts to happen when you cool down, be it a cold shower, just a rinse off, or an ice plunge or cold plunge. Again, you don't need to be too extreme either. And then just build it slowly. It's like the benchmark that I go off. It's like trying to tell somebody to train for a marathon that doesn't do any running. It's like if I told you to go do 20K off the bat, you'd be broken, and you might be able to do it, but you'd hate it.
Unless you're doing a half marathon on Sunday. Sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
Training, reps, done, under the belt, banked in, educated, know what you're doing. But somebody who has no idea and has heard that, like, I need to do like 5K as an example. Let's make it less of an extremity. It's very difficult for some people to even think about doing 5K. Like as a professional rugby player, trying to go out from doing like my training to start running 5K, which I thought was like a universal, easy task to do, I was absolutely written off with like hard ground running. My lower back, my knees, my ankles screaming at me after doing a 5K run where I'm supposed to be a professional athlete that is deemed to be able to execute any activity because I'm elite.
So is there no optimum protocol then? It depends by person, I get that, but is there like a general accepted way of like, oh, you should do it for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, or you should do
the most universal one?
This works well.
The most universal guides recommend, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes of heat, 1 to 2 minutes of cold, and then rinse and repeat 2 to 3 times. Because that will allow you to navigate what it is you actually want to do this practice for, as opposed to just feeling the sensation, because you'll get different why every time you go into the room.
And what are like, there's been a lot of studies about saunas recently and things like that. Like, what are the actual health benefits?
Yeah, it's pretty endless. Like in terms of improvement of your resting heart rate. There's a lot of cardiovascular disease studies coming out as well that it's preventative for. There is so much that had gone on in terms of like mainstream studies by Jari Lankinen that is proven to decrease the chances of any sort of all-cause mortality diseases, which is probably the most fascinating one, because these are the things that you're deemed to be born with, these genetic kind of mortalities that you're just more prone to be just destined to have, and that's just the luck of the draw kind of thing, where doing this repetitive kind of exercise can have preventative measures to stop you from actually developing any of these things. Lots of Alzheimer's research going on as well. It's incredible to see how much the research has caught up over the last 5 years even. But again, for me, the biggest thing for us is the social connection with it. Just the loneliness crisis that we have globally is what we're really about. And that's what we are striving to kind of combat against. And getting people off their phone and getting people talking and being with people. And although we agree or disagree, we're going to have a great chat and like be okay with that and learn that I'm never trying to make you think my way or anything like that. It's just being able to have a good conversation with somebody and a chance to reflect on the other side of the coin, on somebody else's opinion.
You had a great phrase you started using recently, was sauna's the new pub.
Yeah, I believe in that. Yeah.
It was really, because I'm like, yeah, it is. When you see how people live now, like they're not going out and not everybody, but a lot of people are now not going out sinking 10 pints on a Saturday. Yeah. Instead, they're like chilling on a Saturday, getting up early, doing a sauna on a Sunday morning and going for a run. Like it's amazing to see. But I think you're ideally positioned now. You're on I said it to you over coffee, like you're on the cusp of a mega trend. Like you're going to ride on top of that. Yeah. Before we do a quick fire round, you said earlier, one of your goals used to be a sauna in every county. What's your new goal?
Good question. It's very clear 5 years of where we want to be and where we want to go. And then develop the brand into more of a lifestyle orientated brand, where it's all encompassing things of healthy lifestyle.
Okay. So you have another one opening in the next kind of couple of months to be revealed. What else have you got coming up?
Onboarding of a team, investment coming up as well.
You taking investment on for the first time, or have you had investment previously?
For the first time, yeah.
Congrats. Okay.
Yeah, so new learnings, new beginnings, starting again.
And why take on investment now? What's that for?
The time is now, I think, as you said, where I've gotten a lot of learnings under the belt as well. A lot of understanding of what I do want to achieve with this thing, and knowing that it's a bigger thing than Steve, and that like identity crisis that I've been having and battling throughout the whole entire journey. I'm very, very confident now that I've potentially made every single mistake you could make, and still have a shot at it, which is just crazy to even fathom that I still am there. Call it resilience, naivety, I don't know, but it's time to double down now and really give it a go.
Where are the locations, just in case anyone's listening and they're like, oh, I want to give that a shot?
Where we are currently, so we've Greystones, Rise of the Cove in affiliation with Tiglin, which is amazing. We've been working with them quite closely, and some amazing stories coming from that, from the guys on their rehabilitation program from addiction. Then we have Nice as well, down in by the Elms Cafe there as well. So again, just trying to create all-encompassing environments in a more rural location, not exactly seaside. We're in Rathmines in a project called Sagosha, which is old Dublinese Irish phrase, my dear friend, Miel Sagosha. It's like a creative space where there's a gym, there's Bow Street acting schools across the way from us, a yoga studio and art studios. So that's incredibly, it's like a social experiment. It's incredibly interesting on what's going on there. We then have our Clontarf Rugby Club location as well. Again, different environment, different personnel, different people. But what's amazing is to see the type of people that are actually coming there is not what you would think, which is crazy exciting. And then we have Kilcool as well, which is a collaboration with Roasted Brown, which is Ferg Brown. And it is a collaboration project where it's a coffee roastery shop with the sauna and the ice bath at the side. So that's our 5, and then 1 to be revealed soon.
Follow them on Instagram if you want to find out what it is.
Cybercrime is exploding. Ransomware, phishing, AI-powered attacks, they're hitting businesses every single day. Most companies just don't survive a major breach. Nostra's Cloud Shield 365 gives you complete, always-on protection. Built on Microsoft Business Premium with advanced threat detection, 24/7 monitoring, and compliance built in. This isn't a nice to have anymore. It's essential. Don't wait until your business becomes a headline. Visit nostra.ie, that's nostra.ie, and get your business protected today. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to share a game changer for your business, Azure Communications. When it comes to print and marketing solutions, these folks, led by CEO Jenny Johnston, are the real deal. Whether you need an eye-catching brochure, sleek business cards, or a full-blown digital campaign, Azure Communications has you covered. They're not just about high-quality prints or digital campaigns, they're also about delivering great results. And here's the best part. Just for listeners of the Entrepreneur Experiment, you can get 20% off your first order. Just give them a call or go online and use the code VOX20. With personalized service and fast turnaround times, Azure Communications will help you make the impact your business deserves. Trust me, when it comes to making your brand stand out, Azure Communications is the provider of choice. Check them out at azure.com.ie. Use code VOX20 and elevate your marketing game today.
Right. Quick fire round. What book has had the most impact on you?
I think it's been said before, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. The kind of theory of it and the principles of anybody who asks why first, I just love, as opposed to the how and the what. And it just, at a pivotal time in my transition of life, it was the book that, I can't remember who gave it to me, but I was obsessed with it.
What's your superpower?
Naivety. To try anything, I would say.
That is definitely a superpower. What daily habit is the secret to your success?
Putting time aside to catch up with your nearest and dearest.
Can't believe you didn't say sauna.
Nope.
Doesn't do marketing. What entrepreneur should everyone be following in 2025?
Ooh. I don't know a lot about this guy, but my little bit of research is Conor Gallagher, Giggsy. He reached out there from UCD. I think he's second year in it. And I think he's really fixing a gap in what's required for a lot of startup businesses in Ireland.
It's Giggsy is the name, isn't it?
Giggsy, yeah.
I thought that was his nickname.
No, Conor Gallagher, Giggsy. It's basically, from my understanding, is a platform to get students to do more ad hoc freelance kind of things for businesses.
If you were starting from zero in 2025, what would you do?
Other than saunas?
Could be anything you want.
Oh, I'm starting again. So yeah, we're going for this thing now. I thought that we were doing loads, and I thought that we were being really like busy, and growth has been fantastic. But like that's without trying to be like, oh, we're barely even trying. We've been trying hard, but not with a concentrated effort. So it's definitely different.
Your vision is locked in.
Yeah.
What do you believe that other people would find weird or strongly disagree with you on?
Weird. Well, I'm very weird. I'd say people get quite shocked when I say I'm naturally quite an introvert. But again, that's due to reps, as we say, being exposed to scary situations socially. And learning how to navigate me through those processes and not get overwhelmed by it. I say people definitely disagree whenever I say I'm like introverted, but yeah, ask anybody in my family. Like I was never the loud kid, or I was always just to my own. But you know, my mother's a singer. She's the type of person that you would hear before you'd see, or would know before you even met. And Jodie the same, my dad the same, and I was kind of like bit of a black sheep in my family a bit. Like
Jodie's definitely not shy. Did I tell you how I met him? He walked up to me in the gym with his phone. He goes, "Is this you?" He just hands me my own social media account. I was like, and I literally had headphones on. I literally had to go like this. I was like, "Sorry?" He goes, "Is that you?" Yeah.
That's him to a T.
It was so funny.
That's him to a T.
It was so likable though straight away. Anyone else would be like, what is
my mother's the same.
Sorry.
They don't see
social anxiety just doesn't exist for them.
They don't see the norm. They just
dead right.
It's intuitive. It's just straight away.
What's been your worst investment?
Ooh. Not investing in my time to actually come up with a proper plan.
What's been your best investment?
Before it was actually a thing, taking the time to put the plan in place and it executed. So an amazing learning, because it kind of, as I said, it was a passion project that kind of got a hand that I tried to keep up with and not really reset the goalposts. And that was 100% the worst thing I did. Not taking the time, because I kept on saying I don't have time, have to do it, have to turn up, have to buy this, have to feed the logs, have to do this. And not catching my breath to think overview was 100% the worst investment of decision making of time that I ever made.
Final question. What's the best advice you've gotten in the last 12 months?
Last 12 months. Stop underselling yourself and back yourself, and be proud to speak about what it is you're doing and don't overthink it.
Steve, where can people learn more about Fad Saoil?
Online, we have all the platforms, all the marketing platforms that we have.
You are the world's worst marketer. Where? What are they called? How can I follow you?
Instagram, Fad Saoil Saunas, LinkedIn, quite active on longer storytelling elements that we love because we're all about the why. Twitter, Facebook, all the ones that you need.
He's super active on Facebook. Go to or he's super
we
active on
are
Instagram.
super active.
Go to Fad Saoil and you learn all about it.
Yeah, and I love, like, it is an amazing platform, and I hope I don't come across with it being so negative about it. It's just more, I just love life experience, and actually physical presence is where we always want to try to get people. So like, trying to balance the less is more is always difficult. And also still being in people's front of mind to try and get them.
Well, we've listed the locations, so the best thing they can do is come and try it. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Gary.